It was important for me as audiences were brought into this world that they both felt like it was a clean entry point. They didn't necessarily need to know Star Wars backward and forward in order to enjoy it, but that fans of the franchise and of the EU and of the High Republic books would recognize a lot of things that they already knew and that they expect from this type of media. So I wanted to do both, honestly, when I approached this. And I hope that the show captures both of those audiences.
Ooh, well, my approach, I really felt like I needed to know the characters inside and out if I was going to be oscillating between them, and so I wrote really long backstories for both of them and had it as kind of like a Bible for myself that I could always reference so I could understand like their core struggles, which I felt like were already written in such a complex way by Leslye, but you know, I would just go through the scripts and pick apart subtext so I could really understand like what drove these two people. And physically, I thought about yin and yang a lot, and I thought that would just be such a fun concept to play with, you know, because yang is light and it's masculine, and yin is dark and seductive and feminine, and the interplay of those two things. I just really wanted to physically differentiate the two characters, so you kind of always knew who you were looking at. The most challenging thing was scheduling. that was the hardest thing, because you know, I'm playing two characters and throughout a day maybe I'm switching back and forth between them, and then also trying to find time to learn all my stunt choreography, not just for one of them but for both of them. And yeah, I was just always busy.
Yeah, I felt that for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
The whole time I was like, I don't know how she is doing this, but she is doing it. It was astonishing to watch, not just your performance, but yeah, the mental and physical energy that it took to execute both those performances was superhuman. I still can't believe you did it. I mean, I can believe you did it.
Stop.
It's true.
Stop.
It was important to me to utilize practical sets, puppetry, costumes that reflected the High Republic, not just Star Wars media we'd seen already for the Jedi. To utilize lightsabers that could still be used in combat, but still have a light emitting from them, which actually I didn't realize, but is really difficult to do, because in order to have the lightsaber light up and still get the light off of other people's faces, they're very, very heavy. And the amount of work that you guys were doing with the lightsabers, they needed to be lighter, like they are in the prequels, in order to do that type of sword fighting. But they were all put in later. The lights were all put in later. So we had to basically make a hybrid of a new lightsaber.
Yeah.
So those types of things, they were a bigger challenge, but I think that the finished product visually recalls a type of Star Wars I grew up loving, but also the type of Star Wars I was interested in making and seeing.
Yes. They have very different styles, and I think also Osha's style is kind of in a nascent place.
Yeah.
Which makes it opens up a big expanse for us in terms of where Osha goes, where she can go. But with May, I mean, I started by just my stunt master, my kung fu master and stunt trainer, his name is Jung-jae Lu, and he was absolutely wonderful. And he started me off with there was a circle on a cardboard box with a cross and an X, and I would just trace them over and over again until the tape in the box would be taken away, and then I would be able to do those movements in the air without any sort of guidance. And then, you know, we practiced punches and kicks and like roundhouse punches and kicks, and just slowly developed until like I had enough of a foundation to do the pick up the stunt choreography quickly, which ended up being really important, you know, because I was 2 characters.
She's perfect because I, of course, had been a fan of hers, but The Hate U Give, I've given this answer before, but The Hate U Give was something where I felt like her performance was not only fully realized, supporting obviously the overall narrative, but that culturally it was also reflecting an environment and a climate. So it was like a performance that transcended just the narrative that was being told. And I think if you're gonna do Star Wars, you need someone who can do that. You need someone who's not just thinking about the performances and the fight choreography, even though you did all of those things beautifully and very analytically and very thoroughly. But I think you also knew how to have that 4D experience of being part of this story, but are also the larger story and what it means to so many people. I just hope I make my dad proud.
Yeah.
He passed away recently, so I don't know. I when I started working on it, he was so proud of me, and he had dementia. So as I worked on it for the following 4 years, I sort of, you know, with dementia, you lose them before you lose them. So by the time he passed away last September, we were just putting the finishing touches on the show, and I've just felt sad that he never got to see it, because he was somebody that I really, you know, introduced me to Star Wars. So I felt like it was a big achievement that I wanted him. I guess he is still seeing it in some ways. That was a deep answer. Probably not what you were looking for.
I'm
That's
so
the truth.
proud of her.
Oh, thank you.
I'm
proud of you too. I love you.
Yeah. What does it mean?
Try to follow that up.
Yeah.
Go ahead, try.
It means I mean, Star Wars, I think why it's so universally loved is because it has so many spiritual messages and so many messages around what it means to be a person, how hard it is to be a person, how we're always faced with these challenges that can compromise maybe our set of ethics or what we believe in, and staying true to what you believe in can be so challenging. And there's so many forces in the world that are so much larger than us that are hard to contend with. But ultimately, if you surrender, and you surrender to the force that is larger than you, and you let that guide you, you honor yourself and the people around you.